It's 2018. People are brushing past each other's shoulders, struggling to move through the hallway. They're anxious, excited to get to their seats. Everything's loud, but while they're busy, I'm preparing. Soon everything around me is just white noise, and I start to go down my checklist. Did I study enough? Do I know my opponent? Did I do enough work this week to prepare? It's showtime. My headphones are locked in, and so is my mind, running through every scenario, every possibility. How do I attack the next 3 hours? Every few songs, I look up and I catch a glimpse of the world around me, the world outside of my preparation. I see their faces, and I can tell their anticipation is building. Next, I look at the clock, and it's closer to game time. I pack up my notebook and begin walking toward the stadium entrance. Here come the nerves. My palms get sweaty, knees weak, arms get heavy. You see what I did there? I walk into my Coliseum for the day, and as I go through the white smoke, I see so many faces of people ready to see what they've all paid their hard-earned money for. Anxiously, my brain switches from, I'm the best that's ever done this, to what the hell am I doing here? Who do I think I am? But I gather myself, act like I've been here before, like this is nothing. As the leader and the captain of this team, it's my time to address everyone. I stand tall, knowing they're all here to see me, staring at me, ready to hang on to every single word I say. Good evening, everyone. My name is Brandon Copeland, but you can call me Professor Cope. That was my first day at my new job, a starting NFL linebacker working in the offseason as an Ivy League professor at his alma mater, the University of Pennsylvania. It caught the attention of a few people, and when I sat down in interviews, I was constantly asked, so teaching, is that your post-career plan, your backup? My answer to the question has always been some version of, hell no. And after seeing teachers try to educate my 7-year-old twin niece and nephew virtually this year, I strongly stand behind that statement. Education isn't a side hustle. I care about sharing what I've learned along my own personal journey with others. It's just what I'm passionate about. Although a lot of outsiders saw this as a stunt, a way to create a safety net in the form of my next career, I was just a young man pursuing a passion of mine. We've all heard that you need 7 sources of income to build wealth. However, we also commonly hear that Plan B distracts from Plan A. We live in this culture of side hustles, but is it really a hustle, or is it something that can provide us with financial security? How many of us are thinking of those side hustles as true, legitimate businesses? As passions, we first mobilize and then monetize. Now, let me take you back a bit further, all the way to the 1940s, where a boy is born in Georgetown, Mississippi. But this boy's father died prior to his birth. However, he had a strong, beautiful mother there to raise him and his siblings by herself. Now, he's just 5 years old, and he and his brother are in the living room playing during a thunderstorm, while his mother sews from her rocking chair in front of the window. Out of nowhere, a bolt of lightning crashes through the window and strikes his mother with so much force that he and his brother are knocked off of their feet and against the walls of the room, rendering both of them completely unconscious. He woke to a room with pieces of his mother's candy red white polka dot dress stapled to the walls. At only 5 years young, this young boy was an orphan. Moving from one home to another, he went to live with his aunt and uncle in Mississippi, aunt by blood, uncle by marriage. Unfortunately, his uncle took some sick frustrations he had with the world out on him. He was abusive, even making this young boy eat a rat. At 13 years old, this young boy mustered up enough courage to run away from this terrible situation and towards an unknown, but what he hoped would be a better life. A young black boy running away alone in Mississippi in the 50s. Young black boy on his own in Mississippi in the 1950s. 50s. Fast forward to 1960, and somehow, with all of these obstacles stacked against him, many which would be considered justifiable excuses to lose all hope on life's potential, this young boy managed to keep A's and B's on his report card throughout high school. Graduates from Jackson State University and goes on to be the 15th round draft pick to the NFL's Baltimore Colts in 1965. He played in the NFL for 11 years, 9 for the Colts, 1 for the New York Giants, and 1 for the Atlanta Falcons. He played in Super Bowl III against Joe Namath, nicknamed the greatest game ever played, and Super Bowl V, where he played a pivotal role in defeating the Dallas Cowboys. On his journey, this young boy hit more roadblocks than I could count. Hell, his car broke down, the GPS stopped working, and there was traffic too. But he never stopped. This young boy was resilient. This young boy was courageous. This young boy is my hero. This young boy became my grandfather, Roy Hilton. Unfortunately, my grandfather passed away on January 6th of 2019. And since then, I've had the opportunity to reflect on his impact on my life, way beyond both of us playing in the NFL or even for the same team, but through his unique perspective on the world and all that he has survived. My granddad gave me a life's worth of experiences through some of the simplest sayings in the world. Now, growing up, my mother, working extremely hard to provide a valuable education for her 2 sons, would often have to choose between taking me, her firstborn, best looking, most intelligent, most athletic, and, well, you get the point. She would have to choose between taking me to school or risk being late to work. This meant on some days my granddad would be getting an Uber call from my mother at 6 in the morning. To give some context, school was an hour away from my home and 30 minutes away from my grandfather's house. First off, I don't know who consistently picks up the phone this early, especially out of their sleep, but to my amazement, every time my grandfather would, and every time he'd say yes to driving me to school. He looked at it as an opportunity to spend time with one of his 6 grandsons. So without fail, he would get out of his sleep to pick up the phone and ask, "What time will you be here?" As we drove to school, we always seemed to be at the mercy of traffic. A 5-minute delay in getting out of the house could be the difference between a smooth ride and bumper-to-bumper traffic. Frequently, however, we would be driving along, minding our own business, listening to a Smooth Jams radio station, when out of nowhere, traffic would just pile up on us. Without fail, my grandfather, exhaling his frustration and stretching his neck to peek around the traffic, was never satisfied with waiting. After a couple peeks left and right, he began to move the car ever so gently out of the lane. And after a few peeks, he would say, "Cope, you know what? What's up, Granddad? It's a poor rat that only has one hole." Huh? I said, it is a poor rat that only has one hole. Before I could respond, Granddad would start to make some rapid cuts in and out of the traffic, shoot, 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 and get us onto a path that took us smoothly to the front door of the school. "Thanks for the ride, Granddad." "You're welcome, Cope. Do you need me to pick you up?" "No, I think my mom is getting me." "Okay, well, call me if you need me." "Thanks, Granddad. I love you." "I love you too, Cope." It's a poor rat that only has one hole. I didn't realize it at the time, but this phrase was my granddad's way of pouring his entire lifetime of wisdom and experience on me in just 9 simple words. What he was actually saying was, we must expect and prepare for the unexpected. If we had only one hole to rely on, a single way to get to school, when the unexpected happens and it was cut off, we would have no way of reaching our end destination in time. By having more than one route to get to the school, my grandfather literally guaranteed that we would get there on time, even if it meant me jogging into the door at 7:59 a.m. My grandfather ultimately had 4 or 5 paths to get to the same place, so that regardless of what life threw at him, he would find a way to reach the destination. What if your plan A doesn't work out? Does that mean the journey to your personal finish line ends right there on the spot for you? You see, your career is not the destination. It is simply the vehicle. We can switch cars along the way, but ultimately, reaching the destination is all that matters. I love my granddad's story because it has always been a powerful reminder to me that there is literally no excuse I can come up with valid enough for me to not create the life that I want. While we all face our own battles, his struggles to simply survive seem like they come straight from a movie. In this scenario, the destination was school, the car was just where we sat, the road was just what we traveled. With the destination as his focus, it didn't matter if he had to off-road or throw me on his back and run the last few miles, he was going to get us to our destination on time. In order for us to take complete ownership of our lives, we must remember this simple 9-word phrase, one that my granddad taught me on our car rides to school. Envisioning and claiming your why is the first step in creating security for your life. Realize that your chosen career path or side business is simply a vehicle that will help you reach your end goal. You may change cars or switch routes along the way. Hell, even the people riding with you may change, but ultimately, nothing prevents you from reaching your destination. Brandon Copeland is not simply a football player or a professor. You are not just a doctor or a lawyer, a student, or a teacher. These are just vehicles that describe a part of us, a passion or a hustle that we've been blessed enough to just monetize. These are merely tools to help each of us reach our end destinations, because at the end of the day, that is what life is all about. Ultimately, nothing, and I literally mean nothing, should prevent you from getting to your destination. So the next time we are faced with a challenge or obstacle trying to prevent us from reaching our own destinations, we must remember it is a poor rat that only has one hole. Thank you for the life lessons, Granddad. I love you, and I will see you after school.